This is Referee's World with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
Hello again and welcome to the Referee's World podcast, the monthly audio magazine which offers education and training for referees of all levels. My name's Darren Cullum, I'm affiliated with Somerset FA, and this is PGMO Assessor, FA Level 4 Referee Tutor, and my mentor, the one, the only, Mr. Richard Mellin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Darren.
Hello, did you like the build-up?
Yeah,
that was
I'm
good.
I'm stunned again.
You're stunned the fact that I got your distinguished list of titles correct on the first go.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, coming up in this particular episode, we are going to be talking pitch inspections, particularly at this time of year because it's getting colder. The weather's getting naff and it's not great. More on that in just a moment. First, I think we need to come up with a competition prize winner because you might recall in the last episode of the Referee's World podcast, we set a rather nice competition to give away a whole pile of nice stuff, courtesy of Ross and our friends at refchat.co.uk. And it was a nice little package, this, Rich, wasn't it?
It's a very nice little package. And
we all like a nice package.
If I say to you, I have this package here in my hand now.
Well, Rich,
smile, please.
Okay, I'm smiling, but let's leave it there, shall we? You know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's a very nice piece of...
He's thrown himself.
Sorry, yeah, you fluffed me there. But it's a very tidy piece of referees' apparel, and I think it would be a good asset for anybody's kit bag.
And basically, for those that have entered, then you'll have seen the picture on the website refereesworld.co.uk. What we have here is a nice little, if you can imagine, a nice toilet bag. All right,
it's a very nice
but a nice toilet bag for all your referee incidentals. So you can hold your cards in there, your whistles, your notepads, your pencils, all your little bits as well. And we're also chucking in cards with it. We're going to chuck in some of those reusable cards, which are good, all-weather cards, which are good. There's a whistle, there's a coin to flip as well. There's the notepad. There's also a little arm wallet. Okay, that you can put your phone in it if you like. You can put stuff in it, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
I think is how we described it last time. But I think it will probably be used to put the buzzer flag's buzzer in, won't it?
Oh, I would have thought so. Yeah, the battery pack.
Nice referee's notepad.
I've just opened the wallet itself, and I have looked at it, but I only looked at it in the package, and now I'm looking through.
You're
the
talking about
booklet
packages
here.
Again. Is everything all right at home, Rich?
Yes. Don't start me. I've been coughing quite heavily recently. Stop it.
Oh, brilliant.
It's got there's a nice little booklet here. Ref's World all-weather notebook. I'm trying to focus on this.
Ideal for all packages.
Right. Okay. Come on.
Let's leave it there. Right. Let's set the question. Okay.
He's naughty.
Because we've got some interesting answers. Basically, the question we set was this. A defender scores an own goal straight from a direct free kick outside his penalty area. What does the referee do? A, award the goal. Have the free kick retaken, was B. Or C, award a corner kick. Basically, the answer we were looking for was C, award a corner kick.
Correct. You can't score an own goal from your own free kick restart. That's what it is.
So congratulations to most of you that got it right. Quite surprisingly, we did have some wrong answers here, Rich.
There were a few of our lads that sent their emails in, and just to clarify, those that received a thank you with a thumbs up, you got it right. Now, all those guys know who you are because you would have received the email. And then those that didn't get it right, and out of all the entries that we had, there were just a little bit more than half a dozen entries. I gave an explanation.
Incorrect entries, that is.
Yeah, incorrect entries.
We had way more than half a dozen entries.
No. I gave a brief explanation of the restart that it should be and why. Simple. It's quite simple, but it takes one to remember because when you're under pressure.
I was going to say, it is one of those, and we've all been there. It's one of those that is fairly simple in the grand scheme of things, but when you're out there and you're amongst the masses, and it doesn't matter what kind of game it comes up in, when you're under pressure, and it could come up at a very vital point in a game, it could come up in a game which has an awful lot of significance. They are the moments that sometimes that's when you... Damn, what was it again? That's when perhaps it goes.
And you are influenced probably sometimes by the biggest shelter on the pitch, who will tell you, "Oh, that's a goal, referee. That's a goal," and you think, "Yeah, it's easy to give a goal," and that's it. So, like I say, when you're under pressure, clear thinking is important.
Absolutely,
and knowledge of the laws is paramount.
So, all in all, a really nice prize comes courtesy of refchat.co.uk. The man behind that, the man that donated the prize, is on the phone now. Hello, Ross.
Good evening, chaps.
How are you? By the way, it's worth pointing out, It is the evening time when we're recording this.
Yeah, there you go. I'm all good, thank you, Dan.
Yes.
Yourself?
Yeah, very well. We haven't spoke for a good few weeks. How are things generally? I see you're back out on the field.
Unfortunately, yes. Applying my trade to all the unfortunate souls in Cornwall. But no, loving every minute. I'm glad to be back.
Good. Excellent. Right. We've had a really good response with regards to the competition. All in all, a really nice prize package. So thank you very much for donating that. Just for those that don't know a bit about yourself and about the website, just give us a quick recap.
Obviously, myself, level 6 referee, have been for too many years now, so I need to do something about that. Started the forum 5 years ago.
Ref Chat is a forum, by the way, just for those that don't know.
Yes, indeed. It started 5 years ago when I was a bit bored on one New Year's Eve. Don't even go there, Darren. But yeah, it's been blooming ever since, and we enjoy it. It's a good way of interacting with other referees, seeking advice, and just generally telling us a bit about yourself. So
And you've got a little shop on there now, which is obviously how we've managed to blag the stuff from you.
Yeah, Refs World UK. Obviously tied in with the forum as well. Glad to donate it, and I'm sure we can, with Christmas coming and the New Year, I'm sure we can arrange another.
Now,
package.
what about, let's get it from the man himself, what about for those that perhaps entered the competition, okay, that want to get some stuff from you? If they mention the Referees World podcast, are you willing to do a little deal for them?
Oh, always. Let's just say, if I set up a nice little discount code for 5% off, if you just type in the word podcast, that'll give you 5% off any order.
Top man,
worldwide,
Ross.
UK, whatever you want to do. So
Brilliant.
Podcast is the key code there, chaps.
Excellent. There you go. So a nice little bonus for everybody else that entered. We can only have one. We can only have one winner. So, Rich, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, we're going to ask Ross to choose a number between 1 and 202.
202. Wow. Okay. Let's go with 137.
137. Rich has got the names and the numbers there.
Hold on. We'll go down the list. 137, because we numbered them, everybody. Number 137 is Michael Hart.
Michael Hart, congratulations. Well done. Fanfare.
Michael, you will be receiving the package.
Here you go again about packages.
I know.
A nice, yes.
I had to.
Yes.
From grassroots to the World Cup. This is the Referees World podcast with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
It's the Referees World podcast with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin. Thanks very much for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. Don't forget you can listen back to all of our podcasts on the website, which is refereesworld.co.uk. If you do it via iTunes, just sign up and subscribe, and whenever the new podcasts arrive, it'll automatically download into your iTunes. So you've got it on your iPhone, your iPad, and then you can take us anywhere you like and listen whenever you like, and that's what it's about.
And it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything. It's all free. That is our commitment to you. And we have listeners all over the world. So thank you very much for listening wherever you are. Very quickly, before we move on to our pitch inspection bit, just want to mention, I had an email through Twitter. We've had quite a lot of emails through Twitter. This is from @RefereeKit. They sort of come on to say, hello, when's the next podcast? Can you please mention we've got loads of stock back in now? And they might be able to help you out as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And if we can help you out with anything by giving you a little plug, then by all means, give us a shout through the website, refereesworld.co.uk.
This is Referees World with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
Let's move on. We'll be talking to our guest shortly, who is...
We're talking to Eddie Hughes.
Who is Eddie Hughes in the grand scheme of things?
Former Football League referee. He's had a very, very long, enjoyable career. And we're going to have a chat with Eddie because Eddie... He had a very controversial moment in his career. Extremely controversial.
Ooh, tease it, Rich.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. First, we're going to talk pitch inspections because obviously the time of year that it is, i.e. November, nearly December, the weather's closing in on us, and here in the UK particularly has decreased or gone downhill rapidly over the last few weeks or so. So what we thought we would do tonight is pitch inspections. Rich?
Yeah, let's cover pitch inspections.
This is something that we have talked about on previous podcasts, but there's no time like the present, particularly, because we can obviously home in on different areas.
Yeah, it puts pressure onto match officials because clubs want to play and clubs don't want to play, it's challenging for match officials. So the soggy ones, the hard, crusty, wet frozen ones. I'm having an awful evening.
You are having a shocker, aren't you, mate?
Yeah. And then we have the ones with poor visibility.
So there's three main ones basically, as you've said: the soggy ones, the foggy ones, perhaps fog and mist, and the cold ones.
Yes, yeah. So lots to be thinking about there as regards how we go about it. So where do you want to start, Darren?
Okay, let's start where we need to. I'll be the referee, and I would suggest what we do for this exercise is go through perhaps the top three things for each little subheading.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good place.
Let's start with soggy, wet stuff.
Let's start with the probably the easier one, I reckon, in some cases.
Yeah, okay.
But arguably, as we go into the other areas, people will say, no, I think it's more difficult to call off a game when it's frozen, or might be easier when
and
it's
ultimately, in all of this, we're concerned about player safety. That's the
ultimately, yes.
That is the overall
player safety, duty of care to the players, and think about the mobility about the field of play. That's what comes into consideration on everything. So let's go into the pitch that is being rained on for 24, 48 hours prior to the game. You're called in to do a pitch inspection, and they're telling you that previously it's been okay. So come along at your normal time.
Not heard
referee.
that one before.
Last
week's ref did. He let it play on.
Yeah. Well, last week's ref has left a mark on the pitch in terms of you've got ruts, you've got muddy sort of pit holes and things like that. So some pitches are not looked after as well as what we would like them to be. So, like I say, that's a reason to get there nice and early if you can. Don't wait until arrive around half an hour before kick-off, because if you arrive half an hour before kick-off and then you decide that the game's not playable, you're not popular. So how do you make yourself, let's say, put yourself into the professional areas of doing a pitch inspection?
Okay, as you know, I haven't been refereeing for quite some time, so I may be a little rusty here, Rich. The way I would have approached it, I would have, first of all, spoken to both the clubs a couple of days beforehand just to make sure, having checked the weather. Yeah. So we would have a slight discussion. If we all agree that, okay, might rain, might be a bit wet, let's make a decision on the day. So I'll have done that bit.
Well, on the telephone, you can't tell the clubs that the game has to be played.
No.
But over the telephone, they could tell you the game's off.
Yeah.
So you have to have an open mind when you're sort of communicating with the clubs as regards what's the state of the pitch, do you have any concerns? And those are the simple questions you can ask, and you're not at the ground yet. But once you get to the ground, you need to speak to the groundsman or somebody that's looking after the ground itself, and ask him, has he got any concerns? Go and have a look at those areas first of all. What sort of things are you going to be going to look for?
For
How are you going to
me,
go about a soggy pitch?
The way I would assess the situation is, first thing, pitch inspection with my boots on. Okay,
that's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Even though I might have my suit still on,
and
I haven't got changed, I would still put my
put your socks on over your trousers. Put your socks on over your trousers. Wear your boots and take a ball.
Yeah.
Take a ball.
Take a ball, give it a little bit of a kick about, throw it in the air, that kind of stuff. Bounce it, and just to see how the ball's reacting, as well as how I'm reacting on my feet.
Yeah,
because it might be deep in mud, it might be slippy, slidey, or whatever. I think the important point for me is, and this is where I think you've got to stand up, put your chest out. The pitch, the field of play may be perfect all over, but there may be one small area that has got a huge quagmire.
Yep.
And you can guarantee if there's going to be an accident, that's where it'll happen.
Yes, yeah. And
that's where the pressure comes on.
Yeah, for me, I would just advise any referee, don't take any risks. If you've got doubts, don't take a risk. If
in doubt, bail out.
Yeah, and if you can't finish the game, don't start it.
That was always one tip that you gave me.
That's an easy one to follow. If you can't start the game, don't start it. What about the forecast? Do you consider the forecast?
On the day, if the weather's been bad over the previous 2 days and the forecast has suggested that it may get worse, then yes, I would consider that.
So when we got a wet pitch, we're looking at ball movement. Player movement also comes into question, because if the ball doesn't run as the players expect it, and they're anticipating the ball, say, at a different pace to what it actually is rolling at, then obviously there's questions to be asked as regards suitability of allowing play to begin. And just to reiterate, if you can't finish the game, don't start it. That's the message.
And the final one I was going to mention was water on the pitch.
Yeah.
what do? Do you go out there? Do you shovel the water off? Do you get a fork out and sort of prick the pitch, if you like, to try and drain the water away? Or if it's not gonna change,
but the water table might already be high, and all the water is doing is lying there and topping up, and it's not going anywhere. So consequently, it's a tough decision to say we're not playing today, lads. And for sure, whilst you've got two teams there that have arrived and they do want to play because they've both arrived, you've got to make the safe decision without risk to the players. And for sure, you're not going to please all players when you say it's off, lads. And arguably, if you play a game and there's a nasty injury because of the conditions, should you have started? So those are the things to think about.
Ultimately, as Rich has mentioned, if there is an injury, it's your head that's on the block, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to frighten anybody,
no.
but we do have a responsibility. It does sound a bit
harsh, but
yeah,
put it like that.
But we have a responsibility towards player safety, and that's where referees base their pitch inspection.
Okay, so we're looking at pitch inspections with the weather closing in as it has done. We've looked at a soggy, dirty, boggy pitch. Let's move on now to when you get to the game and low-lying cloud, fog, mist, and how to deal with that. Again, the things that I would personally look for is basically how thick the fog is straight away.
Yeah, the forecast. Is it lifting? I think there was a couple of weeks ago we had a little bit of foggy morning, but it soon cleared because the sun was strong enough still to burn it off. Now, if you've got an overcast day and the fog has come down and it's been down there for, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 hours overnight, what's the chances of it lifting? What was it like the day before? If it was a similar type of day, does the fog lift quickly? Does it not? And then if it's not, but you think it could be playable, what would you be looking for to say, yes, it's playable, or no, it's not playable? What would determine your decision to say it's not playable, Darren?
Well, for me, it'll be a case of how far ahead I can see.
Yeah.
Can I see the goalposts? Can I see the lines? Can I see my assistants? And kit colour as well.
Kit colour comes into it
because there's a lot of white kits out there, and if you rock up with a white kit
on a lovely day, white's playing all white playing all yellow is fantastic.
But not when it's foggy.
But not when it's foggy. So there is an element of that to come into it. And when you say, can I see the goals? Can I see it? Is it just about what you can see, or is it the players as well?
Absolutely. Because
players, let's say, playing diagonal passes from halfway line across to the left wing. Now, where that ball goes in the air, how it travels, is it a problem? How well can you actually see? How well can the players actually see? So consequently, here we are again talking about, a little bit of safety. I'd say safety. I mean, people might say, what sort of safety is involved? Well, that ball hitting the player, in the face, in the wrong part of the body where it hurts. And you guys who listen to this know what I mean as regards where it hurts in certain places, in the breadbasket type of thing. So it's all about visibility and being able to sort of be mobile around the pitch, or the field of play, but around the pitch. Assistant referees. What about assistant referees? They come into this because...
Well, you've got to be able to communicate with them, whether they are neutrals or whether they are club assistant referees. You still need to have an element of control of the game.
Goal line decisions.
Being able to,
goal line decisions made by the assistant referee. They
challenges,
and all sorts of things come into play. What about colour of the ball?
Colour of the ball, absolutely. I'd go for a bright yellow one on this one, or orange. I like those orange ones.
If you're playing at Football League level and the higher areas, then you do get a colour-coded ball for the winter games, for the for those matches. But at grassroots level, not everybody's got coloured footballs. So the standard white football, the Mitre, the Nike, the whatever football that we're using.
Other brands are available.
Yeah, sorry. yeah. The colour of the ball has to be considered as well. So lots of things to consider for fog and misty conditions. Make sure that visibility is equal for everybody, and consider a punt by the goalkeeper from one end to the other. At what stage does the ball become unseen? Can it be seen all the way down the field of play? I'm not saying that if you can't see it from one end to the field to the other that it shouldn't be played, but these are the things you have to consider. It's challenging. These are challenging situations, and they are going to happen somewhere in the country or in the UK.
And as we've already discussed, if you don't think you can finish the game, then don't start it.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. We've still got a guest to come. That guest is on the way shortly. First, let's finish off this little section about pitch inspections. Probably the tough one out of the three that we've chosen to go with is the cold weather, the frozen pitch, the ruts in the ground, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the old key test.
Yeah. That's the cricket game.
There you go.
That's the cricket match, isn't it? You know,
So-
Ian Botham's key test.
And the thing is with the cold, it can change so rapidly. And I know I've mentioned this particular game before on previous podcasts, but you remember that under-18s game that I was going to do. We knew it was going to be a cold night and we were expecting cold weather. But at the time, through the afternoon, I was keeping a check on the pitch, the field of play. And when we got down there, it was playable. It was certainly playable. But I remember the hour between 6:30 and 7:30, it just became drastically cold. The temperature dropped.
The temperature dropped
really quickly. And it made a massive difference. And I was concerned about one side of the field of play, which had been in the shelter from the sun all day.
Yep.
So it hadn't had a chance to really thaw out properly. And we did the warm-ups. I was a bit, I don't know, do we not? Teams were really wanting to play because it was a local derby.
Yep.
And just before the kick-off, I did call it off.
Yeah. At 7:30, it might have been playable.
Yeah.
But second half, kicking off at 8:45.
Temperature was dropping
It
really
dropped,
rapidly.
it dropped
yeah.
drastically. So consequently, it's one of those that you didn't think you were going to finish it. So
Yeah.
why start it? Why put everybody through that situation?
That is the most under pressure I've been to call off a game because we were so close to kicking off. Everybody was geared up for it, and I just had to take the decision. So I'm sorry, but you know there are areas of this particular field of play that are going to cause some injury, and later on through the course of the night,
Yeah.
Based on how quickly that temperature was falling, it could have been quite severe.
Here we are in the Taunton area where we're based, and on a Saturday game, you can have a nice Saturday afternoon, say in December or January, and it's very playable. You know, there's a sort of winter sunshine, and it's making it very playable. But overnight, temperature drops, and we drop down to 0, and it's freezing, and the ground freezes up. Now, anything that's been played on, if it's not been treated by the next morning, and it's frozen, arguably it's going to cause some dangerous ruts and protrusions for the players on a Sunday morning game. So consequently, whilst they played on it yesterday, it might have been good. This is how we're talking. Well, they played on it yesterday on Saturday, but come Sunday morning, that pitch has firmed up quite a lot, and it's not going to defrost in time for it to be playable. So, you know, look at the things that might cause a hazard for the players. Look at the things that are not just ruts and protrusions in there, but players running on the ground, on the hard ground. People will say, but it's no different running on hard ground in December to playing and running on hard ground in August. Well, I'm afraid it is.
The divots become razor sharp at times, don't they?
Yeah, and when you think about it, the hard grounds in the winter it's frozen water in the ground. That's what makes it dangerous, because it becomes slippery and it's not very nice to the skin and the bones when you fall on it and slip.
You slip and you bang your head as well.
Yeah,
you can be knocked out cold. No pun intended, obviously.
If players slip accidentally, they don't necessarily mean to foul the guy, but it might become a careless foul, and you could have a nasty injury from it. So ruts, protrusions, and things like that on frozen grounds, very difficult to make the judgment. And if you can't break them down just by sticking your heel into it, by your ordinary shoe type of thing or your trainer, I would suggest that you shouldn't be really playing it.
I was going to say, is that the test now, or would you stick with the old key test? What's the way?
I'll be inclined to use as much as possible to convince myself and to give me as much information.
Enough backup
about lots of backup, and to avoid risk. Use the key test, as you rightly suggested. I like the idea of that. That was quite trendy at the time, wasn't it?
For those listening that don't know what the key test is, just explain a bit about how it works.
The key test came about through cricket. When they were checking the wicket, weren't they? And I'm sure it was Ian Botham on his commentary came up with the key test, and you can tell how good the ground is as regards if you can put the key into it. If it's a bit too soft, then it would be a question. In cricket terms, it would be a question of being a little bit of a pudding and not playable. But the key test, if the key doesn't go into the ground, then for cricket reasons it would be playable. But in football reasons, if the key doesn't go into the ground, it's not playable. It's certainly not playable. And kick around the ruts and break them down if you can that were caused by the game before, in the day before. If you can break them down, maybe it's playable. If you leave the pitch to 4 for half an hour and delay kick-off, could it become playable? But if the forecast is not to change, then I don't think you should be playing.
If in doubt, bail out.
It's not nice to call games off.
No, it's not, and there is a lot of pressure on you.
Yes.
But it's all about the player safety.
Yes.
So hopefully you found that useful. If not, get in touch with us through the website, referiesworld.co.uk. If you've got any questions that you feel that we could answer for you, then please feel free, get in touch. We're on Twitter as well, @referiesworld. Got a lot of followers knocking about at the moment, Rich. We're hanging around the over 3,000 mark, isn't it?
Oh, well over 3,000
Well
mark.
over 3,000.
We're moving
Great.
towards 3.5.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Good stuff. So
That's only on Twitter.
yeah. That's
only on
great.
Twitter.
We're on Facebook as well. In fact, if you go onto the Facebook page, there's an interesting offside video that we've posted up there for you to have a look at and make your decision. Okay, we won't go into it now because we're about to bring our guest on, but have a look, get involved, like the page, be part of the conversation. It's the Referees World podcast with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellon. Let's bring on a guest, Rich. Who are we bringing on? Our guest
We're gonna
speaker
talk to
today?
Eddie Hughes.
Eddie Hughes. Eddie, hello.
Hello there, how are you?
We're very well. Welcome to the Referees World podcast. The first time for you. We'll be gentle with you and we'll look after you, I promise.
That's very kind of you. Thank
Good.
you.
Excellent. Dignitaries out of the way. First of all, Eddie, tell us a bit about yourself, your background, how you got into refereeing, that kind of stuff.
Yes. Well, I got into refereeing, as most people do. They have an injury playing football, and I'd got a back injury. I could run around, but I couldn't kick a ball. So I decided to have a word about refereeing. So I took the test in Nottingham, where I was stationed, and I passed. 80% was the pass mark in those days. And I then started refereeing in Nottingham. So that's how I started. But I continued, once I was fit again, regarding my back, I kept playing football, and I was playing in the RAF and played for the RAF teams. And I also was fortunate to get playing for Norwich City reserves, but then I was posted again, and I continued to referee whilst I was playing, organising it midweek and Sundays, playing Sundays and refereeing on Saturdays. And then when I got to the Football League middle, which was quite incredible as far as I was concerned.
What was your first game in the Middle Football League?
The first game was Bournemouth versus Hartlepool, and on the line I had two linesmen. One was Jerry Collier and Bill Bombroff was the other, and one had done 6 years on the Football League line and the other had done 7 years, and I'd only done 2 years on the linesman's list, so they were really very senior to me. But
You had good backup then, which, on your first game.
Yeah, it was great,
Yeah.
because I said I feel a little bit embarrassed because I've only been on the Football League linesman's list for 2 years, and I've just done started my supplementary list as they had those days. And they said, look, Eddie, you're the referee, we're here to help you. And that was it. And they gave me absolute superb service. And, of course, that helps, doesn't it, when you've got good support.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a difference to how you do the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, the camaraderie in football match officials is unbelievable. And,
It's incredible. Absolutely superb.
Friends for life, Eddie, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
In every sense.
Yeah.
Eddie, I'm going to ask a personal question here. How old are you?
I'll be 81, 28th of this month.
Wow.
81, 28th of this month. Happy birthday.
This month is November, by the way, just depending on when you're listening.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about some learning experiences for our listeners. Now, talk to me about the lowest point in your refereeing career.
Well, I guess you're plumping for when I call the two teams off from the field of play early at Crystal Palace and Fulham. I had two colleagues. When I blew my whistle for the final of the game, they came across to me and said, you're 2 minutes late, Ed. I said, what do you mean I'm 2 minutes late? He said, you're 2 minutes short. We've checked the time, and you're too early. I said, oh. So I said, right, okay. So I went to the dugout, and I said to Teddy Venables, who's manager of Crystal Palace, I said, don't let your team get changed, because they've got to come out again, because we're not played sufficient. The laws of the game say it's 45 minutes each half, and we haven't had 5 minutes for the second half. So he said, all right. And then the actual trainer of Fulham was in the dugout, not the manager, who was Bobby Campbell. And Teddy Venables said, I don't want to see this chap in, I want to see Bobby Campbell. So they came into the referee's dressing room, and I explained the situation. And Bobby Campbell says, you want me to take my team out? And by the way, Fulham were leading 1-0 at the time. And I said, yes. I said, the laws of the game state I must play 45 minutes each way. So I said, with a couple of minutes stoppage time that I've got, plus the 2 minutes that I've whistled up early, I need to play another 4 minutes. So Bobby Campbell said, well, you're the boss. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant that he should do that, because his team were leading 1-0. And Terry Venables said, I haven't said a word. And I said, I appreciate that, Mr. Venables. But obviously he was pleased for his team to go out and get the chance to equalise or possibly win. So anyway, we went out, and Fulham just seems to be able to get the ball away from their goal. They had about 4 corners consecutively, and then they finally broke away, and the winger was clear, shot at goal, and missed. But eventually it ended up as 1-0 for Fulham. And Fulham were third in the table, and Crystal Palace were top at the time. So it was quite an interesting game under any situation.
That must have been the longest 2 minutes of your life.
Well, it was very long. I thought it would be unfair that they would go in, and Fulham and Crystal Palace didn't play the game for them to score any more goals. When it was actually televised, the game, and when I came back in the dressing room after we'd finished, Brian Moore, the late Brian Moore, knocked on the door. I called him in, and he said, "Oh, I must shake your hand, Eddie." I said, "Oh, that's nice." I said, "Thanks very much, Brian. Why is that?" He said, "I thought you were very brave." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, you came out again after you'd blown up for what would appear to be final time." I said, "Well, no." I said, and I explained about it, and he said, I still think it's very, very brave of you, but I just didn't see it that way. I just thought I hadn't fulfilled my job as a referee."
Just the way you're describing it, and Rich and I were talking about this prior to speaking to you on the phone, but that is a brave move, and you're to be applauded for doing that. What experiences did you learn from that, and what advice would you give to any referee these days that did a similar thing?
Well, to try and prevent it happening, the thing is to make sure that you check your stopwatch when you stop for an injury, because I'd stopped the game in the 20th minute of the second half for an injury, and the watch that I had was one of the old lever type, which you pushed, and you didn't press like you have these as we use now. And I just pushed it and assumed that it started again, and of course I put it into my back pocket where I keep that particular stopwatch, and not the other watch I had on my wrist. That was the one for stoppages, and the other one I kept running. But the thing is, always check that your watch has started again before you put it away.
Been there.
Where you look at it and check it, because now you have it on your wrist.
You've done that one.
Yes. So, funny enough, I've never done it since.
Oh, dear me.
Yeah, we make the mistake once, Eddie, don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we?
We live and learn.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always living and learning. And like I say, for such a distinguished career that you've had. And when did you actually finally hang up your whistle, Eddie?
When?
Yeah.
My final game was a Wood Springs Junior League Cup final. And that was in May this year.
May this year, 2015. Well done,
yeah.
son.
Incredible.
Oh, just as a PS, That match that I had to stop early, I actually won Sportsman of the Month for the big match, the ITV.
The big match?
Yes.
Wow.
Brian Moore put my name forward, and there was John Burridge, the goalkeeper for Crystal Palace, and lad from Watford, Luther Blissett. They were the other two that were put up for it. And when I was put forward, Carol said, you might win that. I said, no, it's a footballer's programme. They wouldn't, not for a referee, because we weren't the most attractive people on the football field. And so anyway, John Burridge was second, I think, and Luther Blissett third, or the other way about. And I actually was voted Sportsman of the Month for October 1978.
Eddie, fantastic.
Brilliant.
That is fantastic. Okay, let's finish here on a high. The highlight of your refereeing career?
Well, they were all, to me, they were all highlights, because going out to referee, I suppose, not actually refereeing, I went to Hungary for a UEFA Cup match with the late Gordon Q. He is passed away, yes, Gordon Q, who did the cup final shortly after. I was on the line for the semi-final of the FA Cup at Stamford Bridge, Crystal Palace, and Southampton. Difficult. They were all,
did you officiate at Wembley, Eddie? The old Wembley?
Oh yes, that was only a six-a-side tournament.
Only?
The fact that you were on the hallowed turf.
Yes.
Eddie, only.
And it was quite incredible, because obviously we're treated, because it was a game before the Charity Shield.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we all went out with Carol, my wife, who's been brilliant over all this time, as you can well imagine. The time I've been away. I actually could see her in the crowd. Although there was 100,000 there, I picked them out because all the wives and girlfriends of the officials were in a row together in the stand. But yes, I went on the hallowed turf.
You picked your wife out in the 100,000 crowd.
Yeah.
Eddie, I'm just going to tell you, you've got referee's eyesight.
Brilliant. Listen, Eddie, it's been a pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for sharing your highs and lows on the Referees World podcast.
This is Referees World. Listen online at referiesworld.co.uk or search iTunes for Referees World.